So this is a follow-up to the Simpsons TV SD card image file video from a week ago. It was a bit of a nothing burger video, but I think maybe helpful to like 3 people or 1 person on the planet possibly. I was having trouble with the coding of the Simpsons TV project, and it was okay. But one thing I did sort of gloss over was I was feeling a bit guilty about it. I glossed over the encoding of the videos, which it could be an easy stage. I mean, it could be a difficult stage. I think I had trouble with it because I had trouble with all of it. I suppose you could get unstuck on it. But this is the Brandon Withrow's guide to building the Simpsons TV, his project. Obviously, it's a good guide, very in-depth. A lot of information there, and one of the early stages before you even built any of the hardware or put any of the electronics together is the video encoding stage, which basically is a single Python script to encode your files into a format that can be used on the Simpsons TV. If you're on Windows, you need to install Python and FFmpeg, and it could come unstuck there. Plus, I wanted to have a go with DeepSeek. So I thought I'd do something about it anyway. About 18 months ago, I created this, which is the mini retro TV converter for another project that I did, which was the mini retro TVs, which is just a rehash really of the moon on our. Sorry, this is going down a bit of a road here, but. I did this, which is the ESP Mini TV remix, and it was a remix of Moon on the Nations TV, and I wanted to produce a program that could convert files easily for people. So you basically, you don't need to download a YouTube video, you can just convert a video, but it sort of crops a video, and then it makes the 2 files that you needed for that particular project. I wanted to do something similar for the Simpsons TV. And 18 months ago, I got ChatGPT to basically write that code. And very impressed. It was, here we go, July 2023. And I just started out by asking a few simple questions about FFmpeg. I just wanted to know some of the commands. And, it's telling me all about FFmpeg. And I'm like, oh, what does this do? What does this do? Do this, and can you write me a little script that would do all those things and put them together? And then we started getting into interfaces, and I was like, well, what about a GUI? Can you do that? I was like, yeah, sure, yeah, great. So it just sort of grew and it grew and it grew, and it had a tendency to break things, even though obviously you can see previous conversations, or it sort of accumulates I don't know what it's called, but it conglomerates everything that's been said, and even though it can do that, it was sort of breaking things. When it would add a new feature, breaking other features. So there's a lot of toing and froing, but it did get there in the end. So huge conversation. I did get there in the end. So hats off to ChatGPT. It did manage it. And this was 18 months ago. But after that, I did find that ChatGPT went downhill. Now, I don't know why. I heard other people saying this sort of thing, but I stopped using it. I couldn't be bothered with it. It was. One thing that put me off was the fact that if it doesn't know the answer, it just tell you something random, basically lies to you, which I just can't be doing with that. And also, but more importantly, it wasn't spitting out usable code anymore. So I don't know what they did to it to nobble it, whether it was deliberate or just, they're sort of, I think they got into this phase where they just couldn't stop tweaking it and fiddling with it and making it politically correct, and they're more worried about it saying bad words than anything. That's just my theory. I got no evidence to that, but all I know is I was trying it. It was spitting out nothing that made any sense, and I stopped using it altogether. It was like, you're dead to me. I'm sure other people were having different experiences, and if you're using it for something else, I think it's made people's lives a lot simpler if they're working in office or some sort of job like that, or coding. People that are coding and they know about coding and they know what to ask for, then it was working anyway. Long story short, I went off it, but DeepSeek came out, and I thought, I want to give this a try, and also let's see if we can bash out a Simpsons TV converter along the same lines. So it did have a head start. I'll give it that. It's basically, I gave it the original script, which is this one. I gave it the original script, which is not huge, and I just said, look, I want to convert this into doing something else. I want it to do the encode part of the Simpsons TV project. And so it had a head start, but it does this thing where DeepSeek, but it does this thing where it does all this thinking, and it goes, well, should I do this now? That might do this, and then it's really quite fascinating. And then it spat out, the first thing it spat out worked, and I was like, oh yeah, we're not going to have a lot of toing and froing here. And that was the major advantage of it, is it not only did it spit out working code immediately, and then the conversation could have stopped right at the beginning, but it made some things I wanted some different bits in there, so just a little bit of tweaking, and you can see how short that is compared to the other one. It exceeded my expectations, so things have come a long way. I'm hoping that this one doesn't go bad as well, but yeah, very impressive, and I think I'm back in with the LLMs, but so it's come up with this thing, which is the Simpsons TV converter. This is the EXE version of it. There is the original, just the Python scripts. I'll be releasing all of this, so you can just use the Python script if you want. Now, obviously, you don't need to download a video from YouTube. You obviously own all the Simpson TV box sets, where you've then taken all the files from there, and you own everything, so you wouldn't need to actually download anything from YouTube, obviously. Let's try this one. Now, it added things. This is DeepSeek. It added things I didn't ask for, like this. Its whole layout here is its idea. Adding all this information here. It made the URL entry box much bigger than the previous one, which I thought was great. It actually looks better than the original, and I didn't prompt it for any of that. Right, so downloaded it. Yeah, seasonal greetings. Okay, so you would then just select the. Let's get rid of that. Oh dear, have I broken it? No. Select that. Then it wants a file name, so it depends on what your file convention is, or why you want to call them. I suppose if you're using Simpsons, season 1, episode 3 or something, perhaps. And then it does the encoding. And then the other feature I wanted, that I would think is necessary for this, is to encode an entire folder of videos. So it's not responding. That's because it there we go. That's because it was doing stuff, and it's then created this file, which is good to go on the Simpsons TV project. There we go. It's the right resolution. Basically, that's the important thing, the resolution. Then, of course, the convert the entire folder. You just select the folder, press the button. It would take all the files we've got in there, which is just sample videos, as you can see, and pop them into the converted folder here. Now, it is going to come unstuck. If you've got a video that is, well, not unstuck, it'll do it, but if you've got a video where the aspect ratio is like this, which is widescreen, you are going to end up with these bars. There's nothing you can do about it. If you use another program to crop that beforehand, fine, it'll work. I mean, it doesn't do any cropping, and that's not something it's just something that I haven't added, that wasn't in the original script. Also, if you're using anything that is the wrong aspect ratio, basically, and I think there's another file in here, like this one is very slightly wrong aspect ratio, and you've got some black bars there. So if your original downloaded file doesn't have the right aspect ratio, it's not going to fix that. It doesn't do any cropping, just so you know. And anyway, so there's that, and I'll be releasing that just for that, again, for that one person that has trouble with the encoding. Now, the only disadvantage of this is obviously this is all on Windows, and you know, you could actually run this, and I've tested it. You can run an exe in Wine, so you could actually install Wine on Linux, and this thing would actually work. I've tried it; it works perfectly. That's, you know, you could do that. You could run this. You could take this all and put it into Linux and run these Python script from Linux again, and that would work. But if you do all your converting on Windows, you're up with a little problem that the Simpsons video is all Linux based. So if you put the SD card into your machine, you get to see the boot drive, which is on a FAT32. I think it is a FAT32 partition, but you can't see the ext Linux partition. You can't see it. So you can't just drag and drop the files, unfortunately, into the Linux partition. And there's no real easy way to get around that on Windows, despite the you know what it says on the internet. I couldn't find a really easy way to get around that. So you're gonna have to, maybe if you want to do these in Windows, you can do all the file converting in Windows, stick the files on a thumb drive and go to your Linux and then just drag and drop. Or this file would actually work through Wine on Linux. Did test it, works absolutely fine, no problems at all. You could run that script if you wanted to on Linux. I don't know whether I didn't test that, but I don't know whether you need to install FFmpeg on. You'd obviously need to install Python first. Whether you'd have to install FFmpeg, I don't know. But anyway, it might help somebody somewhere, and mainly it was just I wanted to test DeepSeek, and I am very impressed by it. I think it's there's a lot of hype around LLMs, you know, with the AGI. I still think it's a little bit. It probably won't ever. Well, you actually don't want it to create something new anyway, because as soon as it becomes even semi-conscious, we're in big trouble. So I suspect it. Although it kind of added, as I said, it added some stuff which I didn't ask for, and which I wanted, which was great and brilliant. And I don't think there's any kind of cognitive thought behind that. But these things are getting really good. And for me, this, in a couple of years, this is going to probably really change things. Hopefully it's going to change things where at the moment I can't do certain things with my projects, and hopefully it's going to help with that in the future. We'll see. Or we're all going to die. Thanks for watching.